Ah, magnificent.
Well, this is Colonel Braxton Beauregard Burlique'S the Fifth, adventurer, treasure hunter, swashbuckler extraordinaire, at your service, madam. As you can see, I'm fully stocked liquor there. I've got my old friend Jimmy, his picture there, and I got the banjo player for Halloween. You know, we're in October. And, of course, I got my drink, we got the cards, we got some money, and we've got a few relics laying around here, and of course my old hat. But this topic for today's talk is going to be the military review of the MAX show. I was at the MAX show, and it was a big change. You know, I'd been in Pittsburgh for a number of years. Going back, I think that goes back to like the late 1980s. I know the early 90s I was going there, and they moved it to York, Pennsylvania. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the move to York and what I think prompted that. But first we're going to go through Military Review's video on the show. He took some footage of other people's, and he made his commentary. So we're gonna begin on that. Then I'll kind of elaborate.
Militaria review. Yes, it is the Mad Max episode, yes. The Militaria Extravaganza 2021. So we're going to be talking about the Max show that's just wrapped up as of this month. These are some things. This is York. This is where it's being held.
That is where it's at.
But I've received a lot of emails over the last sort of couple of weeks. You know, I've got 500 sitting there over the last weeks about it. You know, people saying a variety of things about the show hall, about the show itself. There's one, York, I carry a gun when I go there. It's an old horse track with stands. The food was atrocious. A lot of emails actually had the place stank of horse shit.
Well, you know, that's an old, in the sand reminder flea market. I got there, and if you've watched my video, you'll see that, and you talk about bad timing. Let me see here. Let me bring up one of mine. Let me get on another screen here. We'll go back over to YouTube. Bear with me here, son. I didn't set this up. I probably should have before I got on here, but what the hell? We're filming. We're among friends. But I'll show you this. This is what I filmed. This was my original. Look at this. See that right there? When I went through the door, okay? I'm setting my camera up to start filming, and this guy walks in with his, I guess it was his comfort dog, and the dog takes a dump right near the door. You see that there, and watch what happens. Real quick, this son of a bitch, people yell out to him what's going on. Watch his reaction. Yeah. He walks past the dog shit, you know, two pieces there, one up here, and there's the damn dog. And this was on the Thursday. This was when the dealer set up, and at noon they would let the members in. And as you can tell, I'm a member. And I got in there, and what happens after, you know, I drive in there through, you know, all the cornfields. I go drive through this, you know, town that's like a slum. And what do I see? I get in the show, I check in, and this guy lets his dog take a dump. What do you think he does? Watch what he does. Watch what he does. Yeah, you know what he did? He walked out of there, and later in my video you can hear me saying bastard, because some lady who was watching him like I was, he just kept walking. The son of a bitch walked out of the show after his dog took a big dump there. And he just walks in. So here's what I would say. Okay, these people with these dogs have gone too far. I don't want to get political or anything, but they've just gone too damn far with this damn dog thing. They got to go. They can't. Let me see here. Let me go back. Let me see. Now, I don't get a really good shot of this son of a bitch. You know, I have his head cut. I should have shot high, but I'm scanning down here. But this son of a bitch, if you see him showing up with his goddamn dog, you know, he should be thrown out of there. He didn't clean that up. They had to get some sort of maintenance person to clean that up. That son of a bitch didn't clean up his own dog shit. And that slob, why was he even there? Here's a briefcase. Maybe he was there. He paid, I don't know, maybe he joined and he was going to sell some stuff. I don't know. But keep your damn dog home. You may stay home. You want to keep playing with your dog and you enjoy your dog, then stay. Just keep it home. I'm there to look at relics and artifacts and educate myself. And this guy with his guy, can you imagine that if I was walking along and I stepped in that, my white loafer, and I have that? That's an outrage. But anyway, I'm gonna go back to Military Review. But that was an insight into the Max show. Maybe it was kind of a, what do they call that? What do they call it? An omen. Maybe that's what it was, son. But anyway, they're right. It's at an old horse track with an old iron gate. You drive in there, and it did have kind of, if you watch the footage, sort of a flea market feel. I didn't even wait for the food. I went down, ate some food down the road a bit, but anyway, we'll let this continue here.
Stables and everything, so you just have to be careful. The show itself had a flea market vibe.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Very low turnout. A lot of people have said the turnout, location, the quality of the show was very poor.
I will say this. The show, I was there on the Thursday, and I didn't go for the Friday and Saturday. I noticed this. I went there traditionally, I find my best deals are made on the Thursday since the OMS has taken, OVS I should say, has taken over the show. So I went there, and then I was meeting some friends. We were going Civil War relic hunting, and so I was busy, on that weekend, but I thought I'd make a, road trip out of it, and I was disappointed. I agree. I mean, I could go on and on telling you the great Max shows of the past where, Herman Goering's full uniform, some fantastic items you would just see. Now, they had some Heinrich Himmler signatures. They had some Fegelein documents. And they had one of the Nuremberg rally banners with the stand. But usually every Max show you would see that standard, but it wasn't. I would agree, the quality wasn't there like I had seen in the past. But there were still some decent items. But I'll be honest with you, for all the driving I had to do, and I'm an old man. I don't think it was worth it, to tell you the truth. But anyway, I'm going to let him continue here.
Compared to the SOS, and it's starting to show sort of disparity. Also, sorry if I haven't got to your email. As you see, I've got 583 sitting there unread, so I am trying to go through the videos. I want to start off the videos going through the Legacy Collectibles videos. These videos are put together by Tom Whiteman of Legacy Collectibles, and he's showing a variety of things at the moment, specifically Kelly Hicks's table. Kelly Hicks makes a big point of setting up at these shows, which is quite interesting because his name has sort of been tarnished in the hobby since his champagne decal scam.
I don't know anything about that.
Things barely ever sell from Kelly Hicks's table.
I don't know that.
Point out, a lot of people get.
He's going on about the confusion between White and White. But getting back to Kelly Hicks. Kelly Hicks has written a lot on helmets, and I met him a couple times. I'm not aware of this champagne decal scandal he's talking about. Military Review said he's going to do a video on that, and I look forward to that video. I'd like to see, what he's talking about. But that's really surprising, I mean, this guy really, I think up to that point, had a very good reputation. So I'm rather surprised at that. But anyway, we'll let him continue on here.
things mixed up. So when I say Tom Whiteman versus Tom Whitman on the left, you have Tom Whiteman of Legacy Firearms.
Oh, yes.
You'll see him in some of the videos. He is a profound author on PPK.
He is. And then he goes through some different
tunic with the
tunics
scripted cuff
that he
tunnel.
filmed, and those all look legitimate to me.
Uniform almost looks Algemine tunic is also very nice. The cuff title has been hit on it, sadly, but these are very, very nice, beautiful uniforms. These are things that I don't understand almost why at the show they never sell because they're priced so high, but it is almost just for people to look at.
I told you, they have these items there. Those guys don't want to sell them. They want to have an impressive display. And even if, like I saw, when I was at the show, there was an older guy. He walks up to a stand, excuse me, and he had German items to sell. Those guys have that. They kind of enjoy showing their collection, and they want to, that's good advertising for them to buy items. And that's why they're priced so high. But let's continue.
They are a very nice assortment of regalia. He is about to show something a bit different, which I'm sort of quite interested in. Foreign volunteer insignia and uniforms of the Wehrmacht are always very, very rare, highly faked, highly faked. But when he moves over here, this is actually interesting as well. The pants for some of these uniforms are
But I'll say this. That's a legitimate piece. I can tell by the lining. That's just a nice lining. It's got the arms lined right, and that is definitely the real deal, that piece.
Harder to find than the actual tunics themselves, because what did everyone do with their pants after the war? Of course, they wore them. This is even more so with the Russian uniforms. It was very hard to find Russian uniforms because they wore a lot of them after the war. Here it is. This is a Don Cossacks with the KB on the left sleeve, a Cossacks tunic. These, of course, were the Cossacks that fought against Stalin.
That's an interesting piece.
This is an interesting uniform.
It really is.
I can't tell if this has been reassembled.
Well, that's hard to tell.
It's a very interesting thing. Tom gives oxygen to Walter's table, which I see as problematic, but whatever.
I do too.
Usual bullshit signs. All the rubbish that hasn't sold for the last 6 months, and yes, there we are.
And look, he goes on to Kunstler's table, but I think Military Review is kind of shortchanging himself, because what he didn't show, and I'm going to show you, is Whitman's intro for showing Kunstler's table. He's acknowledging Military Review in a way, and maybe even the old colonel. Listen to what he says at the introduction for Kunstler here. Listen.
Now, as we always like to do, my old friend Walter
Kunstler, whatever you call it.
See his stuff. Some of you yell like crazy. Some of you love it. But
See, he's yell like crazy. Some of you love it. He's trying to downplay the crookery, flimflammery, the scumbaggery of this Kunstler. It's terrible that he's just kind of sloughing it off. He's not acknowledging that this boy has sold phony pieces. And I think it's a disgrace. And really, but you know what? I'm going to comment on that a little later when we get to the Blondie chair, which as soon as I saw that in Whitman's video, I thought, Military Review's going to have a field day with that piece. And he did. But let me get back to Military Review here. So anyway, he's going over Kunstler's table here.
The Eva Braun crayon plate still there 5 months later. Same with the silly hat, the Zeppelin.
Yeah, but you know what's amazing? I watched the Legacy Collectibles video, and this was shocking when I heard this. The Legacy Collectibles guy says that he has an Eva Braun plate, and I'm like, he's acting like it's a legitimate piece. And this Legacy Collectibles is a very, reputable, thorough guy. And, I doubt he watches any of my videos, but if he does, I honestly, I would really be curious to know what reasons he thinks that plate's legitimate. He's indicating he has one. Why does he think that's legitimate? I don't know. But he shocked me when he said that he had one of those, of that type of plate. But anyway, let's continue.
All the garbage. Oh, there's that Hydric plate that's been around for almost a decade now, And of course, a box of the usual lead Christmas ornaments that I would not touch with a 10-foot pole. And no one believes in them. They cannot be sold. No one wants to touch them. He's got a huge batch of them that he just can't get rid of. So this is the usual sort of rubbish that comes up from Walter. I do want to take a moment to say this is the first Mac show since the passing of Thomas Johnson, who was an incredible writer on edge weapons. Yes, he did.
He was. Johnson was a top guy in these daggers, and what I thought was really interesting about Johnson was, and I'd read articles and some things he had written, that he actually would make buying trips to Germany, and he tracked down some family members of some top Nazi government officials, and I know that he purchased a lot of special daggers. And he was a guy that I didn't know him very well. I'd see him at the shows, and he was another guy, I'll be honest with you. I was kind of intimidated because he was just so knowledgeable on this stuff, and he had written sets of books on those daggers, and he was a guy. If there was ever a guy who could challenge Whitman on knowledge, it definitely was Johnson. I was very sad to hear of his passing, and I really I tipped my hat to him. He really was quite a guy, and as a collector, as an army officer, and he co-founded the Mac Show. And I have to tell you, when him and Whitman were running the Mac Show, it was I think it was much better than what it is today. But I'll go over later a little bit why I think the Mac Show has hit some bad times, I guess we could say. But anyway, let's continue.
He did sort of have a big impact on the hobby of writing the first big books on edge weapons along with Thomas Whitman. They are some of the sort of founding books on the hobby. So
yes, I agree.
We do take a moment to sort of remember
we do
the sort of impact Thomas Johnson has had on the hobby. Moving on to the Whitman videos that were posted. We'll start here. By talking about
this
Mike
is good.
Johnson, it was I'm all for seeing young people in the hobby, but he's a very strange dealer, if you want to call him that. If we want our hobby to be taken seriously,
I agree.
We have to look at sort of the people who are in it. And he has some interesting things. I just want to point out a couple of things here. Firstly, wearing sunglasses inside is quite interesting. A flag in a display case is quite interesting, but having swastikas adorned on every corner is not something you want to be putting up.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that's original. I really don't. I could be wrong. Whatever it was something that, if it was period, it was something somebody had made up, or I don't know. I just don't think that looks real. But anyway.
Your house, this is maybe where the neo-Nazi sort of ideals start to pop up.
Yeah,
when people have
it's
a
not
problem
good.
with people collecting these things. Also, you have this blood order here. Now, this is one of the rarest Third Reich medals. Okay, one of the rarest Third Reich medals.
That is.
One of the distastes I have in this hobby is people who don't know how to take care of items, and just the way he sort of fondles this medal around. These are incredibly rare.
Yeah, the money that thing's worth. Yeah, I agree with that.
See, it just.
I mean, it looks pretty good, but they made so few of those. That's hard to tell.
Is not the way these things should be handled. But I do have problems with this one. I think this is one of the later 70s fakes. Also,
it could be.
Bit of
it could be.
That's randomly popped up. And this is if I came up to this table, and
yeah, he goes. Listen to this.
This is a young person, This is all I'm thinking, I'm thinking it's Blues Brothers all over again,
You would think that. You would think that. Now, I can tell you this. I'm not a psychologist, but I can pretend, and I can give you my theory. This boy, I can tell you all about him. I don't know anything about him except to see him. I never saw him before. In fact, when I was at the show, I don't even think he was at his stand. I don't remember seeing him on Thursday afternoon, but I will tell you this. You look at this boy. Look at this. You can tell. Probably when he was growing up, he was in school. He's not a handsome man. He's kind of dumpy looking, sort of not well. He's not good looking. He's rather homely actually. And so what does he do? He decides he's going to try to be cool. So he puts on the dark outfit and that. And yeah, Military Review is right, but I have an earlier reference to what this kid is trying to emulate. And he might not even know he's trying to emulate this guy, but let me just see here. Here we go. Now, let me show you this. And this is really what I believe is going on here with this boy. Now, I believe that he is trying to be, he's sort of going through the same thing Roy Orbison, which some of the younger viewers probably wouldn't even know him. But he was another homely fella, and he had the glasses and such, and he was a singer. He was a great singer. He was a very good voice. But he would wear this kind of crap too. The dark stuff, the glasses. Why? Because he thought it made him look cool, even though he really wasn't. And that's sort of the same sort of thing that we see with this boy here. I think it's sort of an inferiority thing. He's trying to make out that he's a cool guy, but in a way it backfires on him because all he looks like is, some sort of a pimp, drug dealer, some sort of a hustler. I mean, that's really not the great image to portray yourself, that you're trying to get money by selling these high, and all the stuff he showed in his segment, they were all high-end things. He wasn't selling any cheap pins. It was all big money stuff. And I agree with Military Review. This boy should really change his image. Kind of sleazy. Kind of, you say, well, what he managed? Like, if he's not a pimp, a drug dealer, is he like managing porn actors, or is he a porn actor? He looks like somebody would hang out with Ron Jeremy. But anyway, let's continue.
In this hobby, we really have to be taking a good look at ourselves and understandings before going to accept the hobby at hand. Mike Johnson, congratulations for getting into it, trying to be one of the younger dealers. But I think we need to sort of change sort of opinions of people. The next section coming up is something I want to thank Thomas for.
This section is good. It shows a guy, he's asking questions, and he's not into the hobby, although I don't believe he's a collector. I think he's a guy who cleaned a house out and he found some daggers and things, and he's just figuring out how to, what they're worth so he can sell them. But it was a nice run through, but it's kind of not germane to our topic here. So we'll kind of go through this. And most of the stuff he